What is up, CSGs? Man, it's been a while. Wild story. My main laptop is actually cracked. The screen is cracked. So I wasn't able to record. So I am on a backup laptop right now. So however this video comes out, it is going to come out. You might not have the transitions and all the graphics that you need, and all the glitz and glamour that comes with my really nice Dell that I just got about a year and a half ago, that the screen cracked off the softest fall in the world. Crazy stuff. But nonetheless, let me put my woes aside to take on the collective woes of the fact that the Rockets are on a 6 game losing streak, with no end in sight. Can the All-Star break come any faster? We are just reeling right now. And I just watched the Email Udoka press conference basically saying the same thing. Bro said, almost literally, bro said that he basically waiting for the break. He said their main focus right now is just getting to the break healthy. And I mean, that's a big picture, good way to look at it. Just before I get into what I'm going to talk about today, which is some of the things I saw. Obviously, we just played Dallas. They beat us. AD, being AD, came out looking like the second coming of Will Chamberlain, then got hurt, which is typical AD, the quintessential AD experience. When he plays, one of the greatest players ever. But when does he play, right? So shout out to Dallas. At least they got the dub. I guess it's okay they got the dub since the whole Luka thing. But man, bro, it has been rough watching your Rockets, and I think that for sure, that this whole stretch of games with obviously all the players being hurt. You had Şengün miss some time. Fred has been out. Jabari's been out. I think collectively it's had its impact on the team. I think that if you look at some of the positives, what I mean, Jalen Green started playing a lot better earlier this year. That's a huge positive for the Rockets. Another positive, the wall, because we did hit this wall. If y'all don't remember, last year, January was brutal. So they actually pushed past the month of January and the wall came. And I think they have hit some sort of a wall. The wall came in February. So that is a positive. That's an improvement from last year that we're going to see. Another positive, Amen Thompson has dropped on the scene as a very reliable player for the Rockets that you kind of know what you're going to get from him night in, night out. That is a huge positive as well. And I think the just overall growth you see, incremental growth from the team. But there are still gaping holes and flaws within the Rockets roster and their individual players and their skill sets. Now, when we are whole, when Fred is playing, when Jabari is playing, we complement each other a lot better. Not saying it's perfect by any means, but our identity is based on when we are whole. When we start losing players here and there, especially key players, it does force our team to raise other guys up to positions that they are not really. That's not what they do, bro. That's not what they're cut out to do. You got bench guys trying to play starter minutes, closing out games they're not supposed to, being in positions to impact in the fourth, late in crunch time. That stuff is kind of what we're seeing right now, and it's having a peripheral impact on the guys down the line. So when you raise up your bench to be starters, you got Tari starting now, so his impact on the bench isn't felt. You got Amen starting now, so that Nightmare, whatever their names are, that they tag team with second units, you lose that. You bring up the Reed Shepherds, the Jayshawn Tates, the Aaron Holidays of the world to play meaningful, important minutes that you're probably losing most of the nights because those guys probably don't even see the court if everybody was there. So these are just the ripple effects of the roster being as it is. A lot of people said depth was a strength of the Rockets. I called BS on that early on in the season because to me, there's only about seven like real NBA minutes guys on the team. Like you can get, and what I mean by that, by NBA minutes guys you can count on every single night. Not, prayer guys where you're like, damn, bro, if we put him in, I pray that he just has a good game, doesn't come. Like we got about seven. The starting five, Tari, you can pencil in Tari for a good game. Amen, if he's not in the starters, when Jabari's there, you can pencil him in as a guy that's going to get reliable minutes. So those two are high impact. Cam Whitmore, 7.5. I'll throw in half of Cam because it's some days he's on and he's making good decisions. Some days he's not. But he's been better. He's been better. I'm going to give him that a little bit. But when you get to Tate, Holiday, Adams has been good. I'm not going to lie. So we'll say 8.5. When you get to the Tates, the Holidays, anything past that, The Jeff Greens of the world, you're just begging at that point. The Londales, I mean, when Londale got to see meaningful minutes, bro, you might as well just count that L. So that is what we've been dealing with coming into all this. But once again, there are structural issues, and I think it's starting to really be solidified on the Rockets. And it showed tonight to me when we started this game off against Dallas. Obviously, we came out slow. It was a day game. I kind of already knew we were probably going to lose because when is the last time the Rockets have actually played a good afternoon game? I can't even remember. We're just not built for these games. We're built for later, not late games, but I think they do better in the nighttime games, obviously. But you see how the Mavs came out, and then what happened? Ime Udoka switched over to a double big lineup to come out in the half, and it changed the whole makeup of the game. And I'm going to talk through that aspect of the game in this video. That's really going to be my main focus, and I'm going to use numbers to back it up. Now, if you guys remember, early on, I told y'all, if you've been a watcher of this channel, what have I been saying? This lineup that we have with our starters, they haven't been winning their minutes. And I was like, keep an eye on that going forward. Even through everything, all the success, our starting five they haven't been that good, bro. I'm not going to lie. If you keep an eye, let me take y'all on a data story, okay? I got my Excel sheet open here. So we're going to go on a data story, as you guys are used to here on the Chop Shop. Shout out to everybody, you know what I mean? Shout out to y'all boys for supporting the channel with all the ups and downs of, we're like the Rockets over here at the Chop Shop. Some days we putting out videos damn near every day, and then a bad laptop, somebody gets sick, and we just go on a 6-game losing streak of no videos for like a week or two. But y'all are always here to support, so we got to rock with that. All right, so let's go on a data story. So Jabari Smith was hurt, I think, January 1st. So that is the line of demarcation for me for the Rockets. There are several things that changed from that position. On January 1st, we had played up to roughly 33 games. I think it was about 33 games. First thing I'm going to point out, these games that we are winning post-Jabari with a man in the starting lineup, and once again, I'm going to make a disclaimer for this. This has nothing to do with Amen Thompson as far as him being a starter. I think it's less to do with Amen and more to do with what Jabari does for the starters. Amen is an impactful player. Yes, he should start in some capacity. How that's going to work, I don't know because of the dynamic of Dylan Brooks being a vet and Amen being a young gun. But this is going to be something that is going to have to be answered by Ime Udoka once everybody's healthy. But let's do a story here. So Jabari was hurt on January 1st. January 1st is when he was hurt. 33 games in, the Rockets were beating opponents by a average margin of 6.5 points. Okay, so we were comfortably beating our opponents, right? We were comfortably putting BTA on the guys we were playing, right? Now, I'm going to break up these next date frames into segments because, I've seen people try to argue that, well, the only reason that it looks this bad is because, Şengün got hurt or Fred got hurt. No, it looks terrible without Fred or when Şengün was down. It looks horrible with this 6-game losing streak. But let's look at it. The average, looking at the average, so this is when in the month of January, pretty much, we went, I think, 10-3 from when the first game went on January 3rd all the way through January 28th. So one game out of, I think there was a game on the 30th that I'm not counting because that's part of the losing streak. So I'm taking out the losing streak so it doesn't pull down the numbers. So remember, 6.5 points was the average margin of victory that we were beating teams by in the 33 games with Jabari in the lineup, with our full, more or less our full bench, everybody being able to function. In that awesome January we had beating Boston, beating, the teams that we did, we averaged only 3.6 points of our score. So when 10-3, impressive, damn near a 70% winning percentage, but only 3-point margin. And you guys can remember that, a lot of close games. And you're going to say, well, the competition was stiff. It was. It's a tough stretch that we went through in that month. We beat Boston. We actually no. The first time Boston beat us, they blew the waters off us. So that was a Boston team that blew us out. We beat a Lakers team. I think somebody was hurt, right? A hurt Lakers team, a tanking Washington team. We beat Memphis by 4, beat Memphis by 2. Denver without most of their starters playing. We lost to Sacramento. We beat Portland, a tanking team. Lost to Detroit. Beat Cleveland by 1 on the missed free throws. Beat them by 4 at home. Beat Boston by 2, and then beat Atlanta on the back-to-back. So it's a mixed bag. You know what I mean? I think that later stretch was really the most impressive. Early on, we beat the tanking teams, lost to the good teams. But 10-3, very close games, some losses that we were not supposed to take. And so that just paints a picture. And obviously with the 6-game losing streak, we're losing by 6 points pretty much for that stretch. So nothing significant, just something I want y'all to keep an eye on, because I'm trying to show y'all how dominant the Rockets were with our full roster. And this isn't saying nothing. When you lose a player, you're going to be not as good as you are. So that's not even the point I'm making, but I'm going to get to that point as I go on. So here's where the head scratchers come in. Here's where what I saw when without Jabari for the Rockets, even through the wins. This is something I've been saying on this channel. Here's where the things kind of hit the fan. The Rockets, prior to Jabari's injury in those 33 games, our defensive rating is 105.8. That was second in the NBA behind OKC. Impressive, right? Second in the NBA behind OKC. In the winning streak, not even counting the loss. I'm not counting the 6-game streak. In the January stretch where we went 10-3, where Ime got Coach of the Month, our defensive rating was 114.8. We have dropped down from second to 21st in that stretch. And today, we're the 23rd ranked defense in that stretch since Jabari got hurt. But even in the wins, our defense was bad. We had bad defense. We went from 105.8 to 114. That's damn near a 10-point swing in defense, which in aggregate is massive. That is a massive drop in defense. You drop damn near 20 points in defense. I'm gonna give you my opinion why in a second, but I'm gonna build up to get there, right? Offensive rating, 112.5 in the 33 games with Jabari and the full team, which was 12. So we are above average offense, not great. And right now we are 118.6, which is our offense is much, much better. 118.8, which ranks 6th in the NBA. Net rating with Jabari, we were 6th ranked. Now we're 8th. So we flip-flopped. We have flip-flopped. We've become a better offense. We've become a better offense during that stretch of games with Amen Thompson in the starting lineup. But on defense, we have tanked. And to me, when you look at why I think that that offensive boost is not going to be sustainable, which it's already showing to me, because even through the losing streak, we're still a 117.2 8th ranked offense in the NBA. So the reason I say that's not going to sustain and it's kind of problematic for this team is because we're not a good enough offense to make offense our calling card. We're not a good enough half-court team to make having a high-octane, fast-paced offense be the reason that we're going to be a second seed or win games. Because at the end of the day, and I've said this a million times, because the Rockets, what they do is we get a lot of offensive rebounds with Amen. He's definitely jacking that up, getting with his ability to jump, crash the glass with Şengün. They get a lot of boards. They give us a lot of chances to get second chance points, right? And that's why the Rockets, I think, we're probably number 1 or 2 in the NBA in offensive rebounds still. And that's been something we've sustained throughout. The problem with that is that when we get later in the game, in the fourth quarter in crunch time, in a half-court setting, a lot of those deficiencies start showing themselves, right? A lot of those deficiencies start showing themselves. Deficiencies in shooting, deficiencies in execution, deficiencies in IQ, deficiency in hierarchy. And this is an issue I have with Ime Udoka, right? What is it? Always me, sometimes me, sometimes you, sometimes us. Great moniker. Like I said, we could, throw that on a bumper sticker. It's a great thing to say. It's a pretty soundbite, but in the reality of the NBA, what that also means is sometimes you, sometimes me, always us when we suck too, right? If you don't have a guy that you can rely on or a system that has a hierarchy where you kind of play off of what you play off of, it kind of becomes that. So if everybody's having a bad game and there's really no go-to person, then the team has a bad game, right? You don't have a stabilizer. And Fred VanVleet, for all he could, was that guy. And I think him being hurt the last 3 or 4 games, is really showing itself. I think if he played, we probably win 2 or 3 of those games that he played in, especially in the fourth quarter, because just by him being passive, it doesn't allow us to be what's the word? CTE basketball players that we are in those high leverage moments. So that is being exposed with Fred being gone. But to me, the most egregious thing, honestly, for the Rockets, with Jabari being out, and this is why, if you look at the Amen Thompson lineups as the starting in the starting five with Fred, Jalen, Amen, Dylan, and Şengün, 422 possessions. So they've almost reached half the possessions of our starters. They're minus 6.3 per 100 possessions. They're losing by 6 points per 100 possessions when that starting lineup. So you ask, how do we win these games? Well, we've been winning them with different combinations of players. It's not an Amen Thompson issue. Hell, it's not. Well, some could argue it's Dylan Brooks, but it's not even a Dylan Brooks issue. It's a functional issue. And to me, that was exposed. Here's where I'm getting to. What we saw tonight with Steven Adams, what you saw tonight with him playing next to Şengün, where he played the 5, the 4, the double big lineup, is a player that does the little dirty stuff that nobody else wants to do. Even Amen Thompson, as talented as he is not a power forward. Amen is not a big. He's a guard. He's a point guard that we're training to be multi-versatile, play 1, 2, 3, 4, small ball 5, whatever Ime has for it. But at the end of the day, there are certain things that a big man is taught. Jabari was taught how to play that forward position, right? So it's not a matter of positionless basketball or nobody plays position. Yeah, you can say that you're positionless, but no matter who's on the court, I say this all the time. I use that Olympic team as a reference because it had some of the greatest basketball players in NBA history on that team that just won gold in France. Steph, you had KD, you have LeBron out there, you have AD, you have all these guys. But when it's all said and done, everybody has to play a role. I don't give a damn who you put out there. You can put 5 Amen Thompsons out there. Somebody got to set screens. Somebody got to get in there and crash the glass. Somebody got to get in there and box out. Somebody got to get physical on the interior and put a body on a body. Somebody got to get in there and fight. Somebody got to shoot. Somebody got to dribble. Somebody got to pass. Somebody got to make shots. Somebody got to roll. Somebody got to get in the dunker. So basketball is a game of function. And if you're not having the right functioning parts, even though you're versatile, if your versatility is just in body type and athleticism and length, but not in function, you're going to lose. You're going to lose because fundamentally a team that is more well-rounded is just going to beat you on the parts of your game that you're weak on, that you're being exposed on when you don't have that functionality. And I think that's what's going on with the Rockets. What Jabari does, what Steven Adams does, is it takes pressure off of Alperen Şengün on the interior. Right? He doesn't have to fight all the big men on the inside, right? He doesn't have to fight for every board because there's another big body in there to bang and allows him to feed off and they to feed off of each other. He doesn't have to, even when he's running his offense, another big body that creates a mismatch, right? When you get a switch, even on Steven Adams, when you try to do some of your exotic stuff with trapping Şengün, what defenses try to do, Steven just being big and in the paint makes it really hard for the defense to recover, right? So that opens up Şengün in a sense where he's able to work, because if you try to send help and the pass is to a tall person that's already in the paint, and he got good touch on his interior passes, as we see with Amen Thompson, you already cooked. As soon as you send the help, that's a layup for the other big, right? Or you got to have one of your smalls try to come help, and that causes fouls. And then you add the benefits. Here's the biggest thing. I have numbers to prove it, right? Have numbers to prove it. When Jabari was playing those 33 games, our defensive rebounding is one of our strengths. Our defensive rebounding, this is the ability to close a defensive possession. We were 11th in the league. 71% of our defensive possessions ended up with us getting a rebound. 11th in the league. You pair that with the offensive rebound. In aggregate, we are running in transition more. We are getting ability to not have to see a half-court defense more. We are able to play to the strengths of our players more, right? 11th in the league with the Jabari injury. Let's go on to what we look like as of not even this game, the Minnesota game, because I think that's the last piece of data Cleaning the Glass has. The Rockets rank 29th in defensive rebounding. The Houston freaking Rockets, who have made a name for the eating glass, are ranking in the stretch since January 3rd, 29th. 29th. We're damn near last in the NBA in defensive rebounds. And think about what I just said. What's a defensive rebound, right? And this is the difference between offensive rebounds, while we are elite at that, because of Amen Thompson, because of Tari Eason getting chances in there, because of Alperen Sengun, right? We can still eat glass with that because those guys are so instinctual in getting to that board. What does a defensive possession look like? Let me ask you a question. Who's guarding mostly the primary ball handler? I'll let you think about that. Who's guarding the best scorer if you had a lineup with two of our best defenders on the court, which is Tari and Amen, aren't they going to be guarding? They're going to be POA, right? So if Amen is POA and he's guarding Kyrie or whoever, John Morant, he's guarding a guard, fighting through screens. They're switching off with Tari. When that shot goes up, how can he get a defensive rebound when he's contesting? So who does that leave on the interior? If Amen and Tari on the wings trying to force the issue with POA, you're relying on Jalen. You're relying on Alp by himself. You're relying on Fred when he was healthy. Dylan, the guy that went through 3 or 4 games with 0 rebounds. Yeah, bro. That's the problem. It's on that defensive glass. So if Sengun is putting a body on the other center and they got their forwards and whoever else in there, we have no chance. And what you saw tonight this afternoon against Dallas, that stretch that we had, what you saw there was body on body. Body on body. Steven Adams was doing all the little stuff that allows Alp not only to get boards, which allows us to run in transition, it also allows him to rest because he doesn't have to fight 2-3 bigs, 2 bigs, double bigs, 1 big, and then a forward. They already trapped, so he doesn't have to fight that because Steven taking up 2, right? So now it's 1-on-1, and he can win those battles. And then now you have an additional screener. You know how tiring it is to screen, go back, screen, roll. Okay, they didn't like the action. Go to the corner, screen, roll. You get the ball with 10 seconds left. Now you got to ISO attack, fade away, ISO attack, post up, shot, get hacked, run back, get back in the stance, stand in front of AD, try to fight over a screen as a big man. Steven Adams just made his life a hell of a lot easier. And that is a pseudo picture, a fake picture. But that is a picture of what Jabari Smith Jr. does for our team on the interior. He allows our strengths to be maximized. Not only does he put a body on a body, he's another tall player that gives an outlet valve for our primary action, which involves Sengun in the guard. And most of the time, especially late in games, it's going to involve Alperen Sengun getting downhill to the basket or Jalen getting downhill. When you put 2 bodies in there, 2 bigs in there, when they can body up, not even just being able to crash the glass, but actually body up, you allow those instinctual rebounders like Tari and the men to come off their POA and grab those boards. And that is what we've been missing. Being 29th in rebounding is just nasty for the Houston Rockets and Ime Udoka. I know they know this. So when we are thinking about how do we formulate this Rockets roster, that has to be in consideration. Not everything that glitz is glamour. You know what I mean? Like just because everything looks good, you still have to look at the team as opposed. That's why I always say when you think about how coaches look at roster construction, they don't look at it as I want to put the best 5 players on the court all the time. They look at it holistically. They look at it from a big 48-minute puzzle. How can I supplement my team for this 48 minutes, knowing the limitations of some of these lineups and some of these players? And so that is going to be something to look at. I honestly think that the Rockets are going to be maximized, in my opinion. There's 2 ways they can be maximized. 2 ways. I think the first way, and this is future speak, not even for this season, because obviously I'm not even going to talk about the trade deadline. We didn't do anything, right? We didn't do anything. Not mad at it. I feel like we could have got an extra body and pushed that number instead of 8.5 to 9 players that we could trust. We could have got an extra big somebody, to come in there. You could have got maybe another wing or a guard that could shoot, preferably. But they didn't do anything. Cool, whatever. They want to see where we're going. Not really mad at it. I think the roster construction criticisms for the Rockets start next year. We've kind of set the bar at pretty high right in this season with the way they're performing. You kind of adjust your expectations from there. But to me, the thing that you're going to look at when you're constructing this roster and how to maximize it going forward is two ways. And this is going to be fully dependent on the development of Men Thompson and Jalen Green as a backcourt. I think Jalen has shown like he could play the two guard position, right? If Jalen is the two guard and Amen is the three, you're going to need a point guard, preferably one that is a really good high IQ point guard that could shoot, right? Could orchestrate. Because as it stands right now, to run the show, I don't trust Jalen or Amen in crunch time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Anthony Edwards, I don't trust him to run the show in crunch time. I trust Mike Conley to get the show on the road and can go finish the playoff. And I think they can do that. You can finish the playoff with Amen, with Jalen, and some of the guards and Cam, whoever you got. I don't trust them to get into the right set because a lot of the times when those young guys are getting into sets, they're getting themselves into sets and not thinking about like a quarterback. Okay, I got to give my tight end a couple of balls. I got to give my X a couple of balls. Got to give the Y a couple of balls. This receiver hasn't seen the rock in a little bit. Let me get him some. Let's run a couple plays to slow down the defense. Let's get the running back a couple touches. So you gotta think about all those things. I don't think they think like that. They think score, right? And not saying they're selfish or playing wrong. Is that when they think score, they think I'm going to try to go score, and if they come, I'm going to pass the ball. That is a very basic point guard function. But you also have to think proactively as far as like, okay, they've been doing this on the last few plays. Okay, let's go here, right? So that's anticipating based on previous plays. I haven't seen that from those guys. They're young. You hope they develop that. Their handles need to get tighter. So if they can do that, Amen and JG backcourt, let's go. If not, I think Amen can play the 3. I think JG can play the 2, and you need to get a guard. You need to get a guard that is an upgrade from Fair Van Vliet. As much as I love him, I think that defensively, he's taking a step back. I think the shooting is erratic at this point. Just get a more constant at that position. I think that'll boost your team. Then you have Jabari and Şengün as your front court. I think second seed, yeah, you can hold that off, right? The other way is if we actually do develop a backcourt of Jalen and Amen. I think if they can do that, then that forward position, the small forward position, needs to be upgraded as well. Right? Get somebody that is a better rebounder at the small forward, that is a consistent shooter, hopefully somebody that can constantly create shots for themselves. I think Dylan Brooks is serviceable, but the defense is really not there anymore. The defense is not there. Like Max Christie was cooking, bro. Like Max Christie, I haven't really seen that defense damn near. I mean, it's been months. It might even be all season, bro. I think the physicality is what he brings, that POA physicality. But when it comes to actual stopping up perimeter penetration, not there. So if somebody we can get to do that, right? You think of Jalen, a pretty good guard defender, an elite defender. You can get a 3-and-D wing in that 3 position that can defend and hit threes. You're opening up the world. Jabari, another year and more strength. He's shown leaps and bounds in his development. You see what he does on defense and his shooting and his rebounding. And then Şengün, an all-star level player, being able to come back another year, then that's kind of the development you want to see. But, I mean, as I said earlier in this video, it is the dog days of the NBA season, as Ime Udoka pointed out in the post-game conference. This is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be. We just got to limp to the all-star break. And then I promise you, I guarantee you, I don't want to put money on it, but I'm going to say this. The Rockets, when they come back, if they come back with their full team, with the schedule that we have, post-All-Star break, they're going to make a run. They're going to make a run, and I still think that our second seed, third seed is still on the table. So I don't know where we are right now, 4th or 5th. I still think we can make a push for those seeds because the West is a bloodbath, and with some of these moves that were made, it got a lot harder. So you think about the Warriors, they got to fight their way back up. The Suns are still going to try to fight their way back up. Denver is right on our heels. We're right on the heels of the Memphis Grizzlies. You got the Lakers coming on strong with Luka, who's going to make his debut. I think today, if I'm not mistaken. I got to make sure I watch that game if I haven't yet. But y'all already know it's going to be a bloodbath. I've been saying that since last year for the West. Last thing before I go, I want to show y'all something, bro. Y'all see these pictures behind me? I draw, right? I draw, and it is a little family. I would say it's a family talent that we have in my family. My uncles could draw. I don't know if my dad could draw. I never really seen him draw, but a couple of his brothers, they taught me how to draw when I was younger, and we all sketch. And I want you to show y'all, man. I gotta put this on screen for my little bro. This is my son's drawing. This man is 9 years old. He drew this Goku. He drew this freehand pencil Goku. I just want y'all to give him love in the comments. His name is Nehemiah. Y'all give him love. He drew this Goku. The man is a chip off the old block. Look at, I mean, y'all see the details. If any artist in the audience understands shading and scale when you're drawing, look at the hands. You know, fingers are the hardest thing to draw when you're drawing. Shout out to Nehemiah. Y'all give him love in the comments for his drawing. Chip off the old block. I'm going to put this in the background at some point. I'm going to have to get this frame and put it up. This boy is 9 years old, bro. I was drawing block figures at his age, so this dude is killing me. So he's going to be better, and that's what we want for our kids. But appreciate y'all, man. I'm going to try to get this computer fixed. I don't know what this video quality is going to look like when I publish it. So if it's trash, y'all bear with me. I'm going to try to get my main laptop fixed. And once again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. Keep rocking with the Chop Shop, and we're going to keep dropping that fire.